So this video isn't about EVs, it's about a printer, and in this case the Hewlett-Packard OfficeJet Pro 9010E. So I've recently bought this for the office, and if you're like me, before you buy anything you go online, do a bit of research to make sure the product's right. And in this case we use Chromebooks, ChromeOS, and I wanted a new printer that was specifically going to be used just for Chrome, and it had to have dual-sided scanning, so I ended up with this product. And in this video I'm just going to show you some of the things related to that, scanning and using Chromebooks, because this information wasn't out there and it's going to help other potential buyers of this product. So a bit of background, as you can see I've only just unboxed this. So previously we were using a Canon printer. This is an MB5350. And we've been using this for years. It's a brilliant machine. It's an inkjet, but it's a Office 500 sheet trays down there. But the reason why I really like this machine is it does dual-sided scanning. So when you put paper in the paper tray, it scans both sides of the paper in one pass. This has been a brilliant machine, still works fine, but there was an update on ChromeOS about a year ago now, and it meant we couldn't print directly from the Chromebooks to the printer. And that's been a right pain, but I struggled for a while connecting this to a Windows machine, but it meant every time we needed to print anything I had to make sure the Windows machine was booted up, and if it wasn't, it was a 15-minute boot up time, antivirus check, all the sort of normal things you get with Windows before we could actually print anything. And I just had enough of that, so hence why bought the new Hewlett-Packard. So as I said, we use ChromeOS, we use Chromebooks, and we've been using Chromebooks now for 15 years or so. I gave up on Microsoft and everything has been Chrome since, and absolutely love it. It's great not having antivirus software. They're fast, quick boot up time, and all the applications we use are cloud-based now. The only thing we use a Windows PC for is printing number plates. And that's the only application that we can't do on Chrome, and this PC sits here purely for that purpose. So most of the time it's not running, so that's why printing has become a bit of an issue. So the reason why I bought this particular printer is it is compatible with ChromeOS, but trying to find out which printers work with Chrome is a real struggle. Most of the manufacturers, Epson, Brother, Canon, all those others, they don't really tell you whether it is properly compatible with Chromebooks. So that's why it's taken me a year to buy a replacement printer, because I just haven't been sure what is compatible, and I specifically wanted dual-sided scanning, and that really limits your choice of printer down to only a handful. So what I then did last week is went on the Google Chrome support pages, and they have a list of compatible printers, and the OfficeJet Pro 90 series was on that list. So that's what really drew me to HP. I looked at some of the others, there's quite a few on there, but that's what drew me to the Hewlett-Packard range. I've never liked Hewlett-Packard in the past, mainly because of their software, loads of bloatware on Windows, and never like their drivers. But of course when you're using ChromeOS you don't have any of that. The printer sits here standalone, connected to the Wi-Fi. We don't need drivers on any computers, no software, we just print over the Wi-Fi. So I'll show you now the things that I do and don't like about this, because some of this information just wasn't out there. And yeah, it's not as good as the old Canon. So I really struggled with Hewlett-Packard's model numbers. This is sort of the base model in the 9000 series. This is a 9010. There was a 9014, 12, 22, kept going up. But what I discovered is their website doesn't really tell you the differences between the models. I was looking at this, the 10, I was also looking at the 14 and the 22. The 22 has two paper trays, which I didn't really need. We don't do much printing. Primarily this is going to be used for scanning. The 14 I don't think had a USB port on the side, which you probably want, because that's a good backup to scan to a USB stick if your cloud scanning isn't working, so I really wanted that. But they were doing £70 cash back on this, ending 31st of January. So I jumped in on the 31st of January and ordered it, and it was 200 quid, and then we get the £70 cash back. But I see now they have extended that £70 cash back for another 3 months, but at the same time put the price up by £5 or £10 or so. So overall, this was a very cheap machine for the specs, and 100% compatible with Chrome, does cloud scanning and printing direct from Chrome, obviously without any drivers or software. So you've got a colour screen here which does tilt, which is quite good, but that's the highest angle tilt, not quite enough, but then I suppose we've got it quite low down on these pedestals. Paper feeder here, flatbed under there if you want to scan. I haven't got a clue what that does. If you know the purpose of that, let me know in the comments. Quite a small paper tray. I can't remember how many sheets, but it does what we want to do. Paper exit is here. This is sprung loaded, which is quite nice. The reality is that's got to be out all the time to use the machine. Your ink cartridges go in here. Oh, and we're using the HP Plus, which is instant ink. So you get the instant ink subscription. The amount of printing we do will be on the 99p a month subscription. And I sort of did the maths on that, and it really does work. So for 99p a month, you get all your ink, and it comes delivered to the door. So you get the starter cartridges initially, which doesn't have much ink. I signed up for the HP Plus, which includes instant ink, and straight away there is a set of inks coming, and you get 6 months free. So time will tell whether it really does pay to use it. But if you sign up for the Plus, what it does is it locks your printer so you can only use genuine Hewlett-Packard cartridges, and that isn't clear. But I was happy to do that because I wouldn't use aftermarket cartridges anyway. I've had lots of problems with printers in the past when you try to use cheaper cartridges. So I was happy to lock it to only use HP cartridges. But for doing that, for taking the Plus subscription, you get instant ink, as I said. It locks the machine to only use HP cartridges, but you get a year's extra warranty for that, and you get some extra functions on the app, which are a bit pointless. And you get 6 months free instant ink. So I was happy to go down that route because I don't think in reality it's going to make much difference, but to get an extra year's warranty, that's the price you pay. So anyway, that subscription is now enabled, got 6 months free, and then we only pay 99p a month. If you do more, then you can pay £1 extra, and if you end up printing more, then your monthly charges go up depending on how many you print. But it does seem very good value. Supposedly, I've watched other videos and I've looked at the chart, supposedly it does save you money to use their subscription ink service. So anyway, first time for me, and that's what we're going to run with. So you have this touch screen and you can do the various functions there. This also has some fax on it as well, which never going to use. This is all quite basic. Like if I hit scan here, we can scan to email, scan to a network folder, scan to SharePoint. Well, obviously you need Microsoft for that. Scan to a computer. Again, that's only going to work if you've got Windows, or scan to USB and you plug in there. So that's the one we will likely use. The others, scan to email you're going to use, but again you need Windows to set that up. However, you can set it up with the web browser, which will work in ChromeOS. You can go into the IP address of this and configure that email address. I haven't done it. It gives you instructions here how to do it, because I've done it via shortcuts for now. So that's how the touchscreen works, and then you've also got these little icons at the top. To access those, you just scroll down, and then you've got bigger buttons where you can go to settings, network, and all that sort of stuff. So this one is on our Wi-Fi, and it runs completely standalone. So you also have an app. I've got an Android phone here, and it's called HP Smart, and you install this to set up the printer, and this is basically an easy way of getting your printer set up on the Wi-Fi. And the app gives you all the shortcuts. It's basically replicating what's on the screen there. But it gives you useful information, like you can look at the pages you printed and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's quite a good app, but it gives you processing power. So what they've done is taken it out of the printer and put it on the app, because we've all got one of these in our pockets anyway, so why not? So when you're scanning, you can do your selective windows and all that sort of stuff on the app rather than trying to do it on the screen. So it works well. I'm quite happy with what they've done with this, particularly for us ChromeOS Chromebook users where you don't have drivers. So the app does that sort of job of giving you all that software function rather than doing it on your Chromebook, because obviously you don't have software drivers on there. So now to the scanning. This is what I don't particularly like about this machine. So I bought this machine just because it had double-sided scanning, but it doesn't work the same way as the old Canon, where it obviously had two scanning I don't know what you call it, eyes or whatever underneath. So on the Canon it would feed a bit of paper through and it would scan both sides at the same time. This has to turn the paper around, so it's only got your one scanner along here. The Canon obviously had another one built into the lid. Right, so here I've got 2 pages to scan and they've got writing on both sides. So I've created some shortcuts. So I'm going to go into shortcuts and let's scan to drive. So I've created some destinations here so it can scan to your Google Drive, and you can also scan to email, and it will scan to both at the same time if you want. But now I have got an error. Good start. Okay, let's go scan to email. Right, so that's going to work. So what I found is you couldn't select two-sided scanning anywhere unless you set up your own shortcut. Going through the touchscreen on the main menu, it would never do two-sided scanning. So when you set up a shortcut, you get these options when you go into it, but you can't default these to anything. So every time you've got to select two-sided. So it's now on two-sided. It defaults to letter. You cannot make it default to A4, and I've even looked at your region settings and all of that. It doesn't make any difference. And colour, and then you can choose what type of file. Basic PDF is fine. So let's hit go. So you have to do that every time, confirm those options and toggle it to two-sided if you wanted two-sided. As you can see, it's quite slow. It's now going to scan, and what it does, it's rather slow, scans, brings the paper out, then sends it back in, turns it around, scans the other side. So yeah, it works, but it's quite slow. So now it's going to go back in again. So that's probably done. Yeah, and now it's taken the next page. So it's quite a long process. So if you've got a sort of a 20-page document, you've got to walk away and leave it for 5 minutes. Whereas the old Canon one, it would just whiz through. It would do each page in about 3 or 4 seconds. So obviously you get what you pay for. This was quite a cheap machine, but it wasn't clear in the specs that your dual-sided, two-sided scanning wasn't in one pass. So it's not a big issue, but it's just slow. So when you're done, you can either add more pages by pressing start or press done, and then that's now going to then email it. And that's how you get that interaction with Chrome. You can either scan directly into your Google Drive, or you can scan to an email, or you can do both in one go. So yeah, not particularly happy with the scanning, but you know, it's fine. It's not the end of the world. As always, I suppose you get what you pay for, but you just have to be very careful with the specs. This is doing a 2-pass scan, and ideally I wanted a single pass, but I wasn't very clear, didn't understand, so that's why I'm doing this video. So I've discovered why this wasn't working just now. It's because I had my phone on flight mode, because when I'm recording my mobile always goes off, so I'd put it on flight mode, and what that had done, it's obviously taken it off the Wi-Fi, and therefore this app wasn't working. So this is going to all wake up in a minute. There we go, we can now see the printer. So creating those shortcuts on that screen you have to do via this app, and you do that in shortcuts, and I've created various shortcuts to work with ChromeOS. So I've created a shortcut that sends it just to email, one that sends it just to Drive, one that sends it to my personal Drive account, and I've also done a text one, so that does a readable PDF, not that that makes much difference. So I've created shortcuts in here, and those are then replicated on the screen down there, and that's why it does that link, because it's looking here for any further ones. So let's just add a shortcut. So you got save to Google Drive or email, and you can create your own shortcut, and you can add your email addresses and your Google Drive account. So it's all very simple. So all of that side of things works quite well, and then that gives you the shortcuts on the screen, and that's how you've got to get your full use out of this product. Because if you don't use shortcuts and you use these, you do not have the option to select two-sided scanning. It's bizarre, but anyway, I hope that helps. So I'll just show you printing in Chrome. So I've got the Chrome browser up, and then if I just go to File, Print, I'll just print the Google homepage. We can select More. I haven't printed yet from this laptop, so instantly it's recognised the printer, and we can then say I just want to print page 1. And you can select black and white and colour, and you've got more settings under there, and say print, and it's now printing. So 100% compatible with Chrome, nice and quick and easy. And since buying this printer, this is the first time this particular Chromebook has been switched on, so it found the printer straight away, and obviously being Chrome, no software or any drivers needed. One other thing which doesn't sound very good is there's a horrible plastic snapping sort of sound when it's turning the paper over in this document feeder. There's something deep inside here that when the paper is turning over, it makes a horrible sort of click, clunk noise, and it sounds like a bit of plastic is about to break. But anyway, this has got the extended warranty. I think this now has a 3-year warranty, certainly 2 years, but I've got a feeling because this is the Pro Edition, Business Edition, it's a 3-year warranty, so I'm not particularly worried it's going to be covered, but it doesn't sound great. The thing I do quite like with this is when you go into settings up there, you can go into power management somewhere. There it is, power management. You can do a schedule on and off. So you've got sleep mode as well, that basically just turns the screen off, but scheduled on and off is quite nice. You can schedule what time the printer switches on and what time it switches off for every day of the week. Well, you've got a tick box for all the days of the week, so you know you could have it off all the time at weekends or whatever. So for all your working days, in my case I've got it every day switching on at 8 AM, turning off at 10 PM. So it's going to save a little bit of electricity, but it means you don't have to remember to turn your printer on and off. And obviously using Chromebooks, we could print from anywhere, whether in the office or out the office. So that's quite nice that you've got power scheduling. You've also got a function if you print when you're away from the office, the print isn't necessarily going to come out. So if you've got something that's private, you don't want other people to see, it's not going to actually eject the paper or print it until you're here standing over the printer. So it's got that function as well, which is quite nice. So a few other little things which I think might help others when you're looking at these machines, and I wish I knew this. So when you're using the HP Smart Phone app, You've obviously got monitoring of your printer, because your printer's got to be online all the time. You can look at ink levels, but you've also got all the setup of the printer under here. Obviously all your adjustments and things you might want to make, which is a lot easier doing it on the app than actually messing around on the little touchscreen. So that's nice. You can also monitor how many pages you print, your ink levels and all that sort of thing. Plus, if you log on to your hpsmart.com account, which you have to create, you've got a lot of information in here, and using Chrome, this is much easier if you're just doing it online on the big screen here. So again, you can look at your printer, and you can look at how many pages you're printing, ink levels, all that sort of stuff. And when you use Instant Ink, we can go to Overview here, and you can look at your plan, you can look at how many pages you're printing, whether you're on the right plan, you can adjust it, and it's just very convenient having all of this on the HP portal. So I think that's about it. Primarily I just wanted to show you how it works with ChromeOS. You can do scanning to email, scanning to drive, you can have multiple drive accounts as well. I've certainly got 2 configured on here. I think it allows you more. And you've got to do everything through shortcuts, so it's a little bit long-winded, and I don't like the fact that you have to then select paper size and whether you want 1 or 2-sided printing. I guess most of the time you're going to use single-sided printing, so it's not really an issue, but basically I try to be paper free, so every bit of post, every letter, all communication, bank statements, receipts, all of that stuff, it all gets scanned to PDF and the paper copy destroyed. So we use the scanner quite a lot, and that's why I wanted 2-sided scanning. So this thing is a bit slow because it's got to turn the paper over, but most of the time you can set it going, walk away and come back. So it's not a massive issue, but it's not as good as the old Canon was. So if we were a Windows PCs, then this thing would still be going, and this is a far superior printer. They do similar ones, but I just was unsure about the ChromeOS compatibility, so that's why I didn't end up buying another Canon. It was very difficult to find out how compatible they were with Chrome, so we're retiring that and now got this new one. So at the end of the day, I suppose you get what you pay for. This was a cheap machine, 200 quid, £70 cash back. But it's got a long warranty, and it looks like the cartridges may be cheaper to run as well using their HP Instant Ink. So anyway, that's it for this video. I hope it helps if you're looking to buy one of these. If it has, please do click that thumbs up button on the YouTube. That really does help. And obviously this channel's about electric vehicles. If you want to know more about electric vehicles, then do subscribe. But occasionally I do product review videos if I think that information will be helpful to others. Okie doke, see ya.